Can we be honest for a second? We all love sex. You, me, men, women, other. It's one of the few practices we all engage in, you know, apart from monks and popes. Yeah, let's leave popes out of this. So when you meet a guy that you have amazing sexual chemistry with, when is it the right time to act upon that? You don't want to come across as easy, but also you don't want him to lose interest either. Well, that's exactly what we're going to get into today. Hello and welcome to my channel. I am Kit, your personal dating coach. And in today's video, I'm going to give you the blueprint so you know exactly when is the right time for you to open that physical can. Know the time of when to do it. So A, it doesn't hurt your chances of being taken seriously, but also B, you do it at a time that actually adds to your genuine connection as opposed to just doing it from a place of pure lustfulness. Before we get into that, ladies, I am starting private group sessions for a select women who want to take their love lives to the next level. In these sessions, I will teach you the tools that put the power back in your hands when it comes to dating with guys and share with you the secrets as to what makes a man choose you forever. So if you want to be part of this inner circle, drop me a message on Instagram. Now let's get into the video. So as we get started, I just want to really make this clear that this is not for someone who is looking for just casual sex. This is only for someone who is looking for a serious, fulfilling relationship. So if you're looking for just casual sex, then there's no point in you watching this video because you can have sex with them whenever you want. It doesn't matter. But if you're looking for something serious, stick around. So this question is asked so much and there is a lot of misleading answers out there.
You must wait at least 3 dates before you sleep with a guy. You must wait at least 3 months before you sleep with a guy. You can sleep with a guy on the first date. If he wants to be with you, then that's not gonna matter.
And the problem is with all these answers is that these kind of answers are very circumstantial. So like, for example, if you say, okay, you shouldn't sleep with a guy, you know, within the first 3 months, well, what if one person is dating a guy for 3 months, seeing them twice a week, but then another person is dating a guy for 3 months, but they only see them maybe once every couple of weeks? Or for example, if you say, oh, well, let's take it that you should sleep with a guy on the 3rd date. Well, for some people, they have 3 dates where maybe it lasts for 2 hours or something. But then equally, you can have a date when you spend like the whole day together, and that amounts to the same amount of time as 3 of those, for example, 2-hour dates. So it's really hard to use these as a metric for when it is the right time. But let me just rebuttal that last one of it doesn't matter to sleep with him on the first date. If you are looking for a man to take you seriously as an option for long term, do not sleep with him on the first date. Do not sleep with him on the first date. Don't sleep with him easy or quickly. No, this isn't about you being judged for being sexually free or anything like that. This is 2021, you know, we live in sexually liberated times and casual hookups is part of the culture now. That's not what this is about. But even though as a society, we have evolved and advanced and have modern civilization, when it comes to sexual selection, what we are instinctually driven to choose hasn't actually changed that much. So what I mean is this, look, we live in a great time where women earn their own money, and there are even some professions where women are actually out earning men. I actually read a study recently that showed that single women under the age of 30 actually out earn their single male counterparts. But even though that we live in times where women earn their own money, 95% of women still want a man who can provide for them, even though as women, you can provide for yourself. But instinctually, what you want to choose, what you're driven to choose, especially for a man long term, that is the kind of man that you want. And that's okay, that makes sense. So understand that in the same way that even though you can provide for yourself, and most of you still want to choose a man who can provide for you, yes, we live in sexually liberated times, but men are still instinctually driven to choose a woman who presents sexual loyalty and sexual fidelity. Now, some of you may be asking, is this really fair though? Why is this the case? Why is this still what guys are wanting to choose in a woman, even though we live in sexually liberated times? And it's because of this. Yes, we live in times of equality where everybody should have the same rights and the same opportunity. But when it comes to sexual selection, when it comes to what we are instinctually attracted to, it comes from a very primal place within us. It comes from the primal animalistic place in us. And let's just be honest, Yes, we live in a day and age of equality, but when it comes to the sexual marketplace and it comes to dating, it is the most un-PC, unequal there is. For example, a lot of women say they want a guy who's 6 foot. Some women even say if he's not 6 foot, then they don't even consider him. Now, look, listen, that's fine. You can have your standards if that's what you want. But that means that all the guys who don't meet that 6 foot, they're immediately disqualified as an option for you. Now, is that fair? Not really, because if a guy's 5'8", he can't change his height. Like, you're given what you're given. But if that's what you like and if that's what you're attracted to, then that's what you're gonna go for. This is why a lot of the time you can't help but be attracted to the bad boy, the player. You know, he's tall, he's athletic, he's confident, he's masculine. Other women want him as well. And then equally, you have this nice guy who's pretty average maybe on looks, but he's really nice, he's always there for you. But when it comes to what you are attracted to, what you are sexually attracted to, it seems to be the bad boy that is always the one that turns you on. And let's be honest, it's often the bad boy who gets his way. Now it's funny because even though up here you know that he's probably a terrible choice, down here you're getting turned on because from a primal standpoint, you see that he's tall, athletic, confident, other women want him as well. All these things are pointing towards him being a high quality male. So it makes sense that naturally that is what you are more drawn to, even if thinking up here, you're like, I probably shouldn't go there. In the animal kingdom, and this is common with us as human beings and 90% of the other species. In the animal kingdom, the primary goal of a female when it comes to sexual selection is to have the fittest and strongest offspring possible. And how does a female have the fittest and strongest offspring possible? By mating with the fittest and strongest male. That's why in the primate kingdom, you know, with like gorillas and apes and monkeys, what happens is you have that one alpha ape, which is the one that all the females mate with. He's the only one that they mate with. Now, it's not because the male ape has gone, I demand that no female mate with any other male. It's because the females are saying, hey, we are only going to mate with the best possible male. And if you've proven yourself to be the best male, that's who we're gonna mate with. Because from a primal standpoint, that's the goal of a female, to have the strongest offspring that she can. Now, when it comes to the male counterpart, sexual selection goal is actually a bit different. The goal of a male when it comes to sexual selection is to make sure that the offspring are his. Because the thing is, as women, you know that the offspring are yours. You know that the child is yours because it comes out of your body. But as men, as males, we don't know if it's ours. There's no proof that it's ours. Even, you know, even today with modern medicine, with DNA tests, they're only like 98% effective. But from an instinctual standpoint, males, we don't know that the offspring is ours. So the goal for us is to make sure that the offspring is ours. And how do we make sure that the offspring is ours? By choosing a female who shows that she will be sexually loyal to us. Now, why is this so important for a man? Why is this so important? And this is where the whole double standard of, you know, a guy can sleep with many women and, you know, if a woman sleeps with many guys, then she's not seen as desirable for long term. Why is this intrinsically important to a male? Because how males show their love and commitment is through sacrifice. Males as men as well, we show love and commitment through sacrifice. That's why it's men who were drafted to go into the war. That's why when the Titanic went down, it was, who was it? Women and children first. That's what chivalry is all about, letting the women go through the door first. When it's raining, the man takes off his coat and puts it on the woman so that she stays dry and he gets wet. Men show their love and commitment to women and to females through love and sacrifice. And this is why in the Lion Kingdom, when you have a pride of lions, where you have obviously one male and several lionesses, when another male comes and they fight it out, if that new male beats that male and thus takes over the pride, the first thing he does is kill the cubs. Now that seems really harsh. Why would he do that? The reason he does that is because as a male, he's like, look, I'm responsible for protecting this pride. I'm going to be putting my life on the line. So best believe I'm not going to put my life on the line for any offspring that isn't mine. I'm not gonna put my life on the line for any DNA that isn't mine. That's why the male, the first thing he does is kill the cubs. And the only way he'll put his life on the line are for cubs that are his own offspring. So understanding that as males, it is invaluable to a male, if he's gonna sacrifice himself, that he is sure that he's sacrificing for his own children, not some other male's children. Now, why have I just explained all of this? Why have I gone through a kind of biological, evolutionary, animalistic kind of clarity of where all this comes from? Because I want to try and help you understand that when you have sex with a guy on the first date, or very easy or very quickly, what you are communicating to his male instincts is that if he were to choose you, invest in you long term, and eventually have children with you, you are communicating to him that there's a high chance that those offspring aren't his. And this is why demonstrating sexual loyalty and sexual fidelity is invaluable to a man when he's looking to choose a woman for a long-term partner. Now, I know some of you may be thinking,
Well, Kit, I know a couple or two where they slept together on the first date and they went into a long-term relationship.
and yes, while this does happen on occasion, this rarely actually happens. This happens like 1% of the time. And I'm not gonna advocate for you to do something that has a success rate of about 1 or 2% when I can tell you and show you the way to do it that has proven to have a success rate of 98, 99%. And let's just be frank, most of the time this actually does happen is because the guy hardly gets any female attention at all. What I think a lot of women don't actually realize is that about 80% of men get zero attention from women. A lot of the time, what happens is a lot of what women look for, they are looking at the top bracket, the top 15, 20% of guys, which means the majority of guys actually get hardly any female attention. So what happens is when they meet a girl that not only gives them attention, but actually has sex with them, gives them sexual access, he goes,
Oh, well, this never happens. I never actually get a girl, so I'm gonna hold on to this one as tightly as possible.
that's generally why that happens. And if you don't believe me, let me ask you this question. The couple or couples that you know where they slept together on the first date, the guy in that relationship, do you see him as an attractive prospect? Would you date him yourself? And I would bet £1,000 the answer is no, you wouldn't. And if you know a couple where this happened and you would date the guy yourself, then post a picture of it in the comments. And if it's true, I'll give you £1,000, okay? I'm joking, crap, I said it, maybe I have to now. So with all that said, what is the blueprint so you know when is the right time? Well, there's 3 metrics to go from. 3 questions to ask yourself to help you know that it's the right time. The first thing to ask yourself is, would I introduce him to my friends? So what I mean by that is if one of your girlfriends was having like a gathering at her house this weekend and they said, hey, you can all bring a +1, do you know him well enough? Do you feel comfortable enough with him to bring him as a +1 to your friend's gathering? Because the thing is, when we go to a party and when we bring a +1, when we bring a guest that nobody else knows, that person is a representation of our choices in people. Because have you ever been to a party where some guy or some girl was just trashing the place, being rude to everyone, and then everyone's like, yo, who brought this person? If they were the person that you brought, everybody makes a judgment on you because of that. So understand that when we bring guests, they are representing us. They are almost an ambassador for us. The reason this question is really good is because do you feel comfortable for this guy to be an ambassador for you? And if you don't know him well enough and you don't feel confident enough that he would be a good ambassador for you, then it's too soon. But if you feel confident enough in who he is and you know him well enough, then yo, that's the green light. The next thing to say to yourself is this: if in doubt, wait it out. As in, if you're unsure if it is the right time, then having a bit more patience isn't going to hurt you. Don't feel you have to jump on that. Now, I know the worry can be, oh, but what if he loses interest? Like, if he's a guy that a lot of girls like, I know he has options, I want to keep him around. Don't ever sleep with a guy to keep him around, okay? Instead, understand sexual pacing. So what I mean by that is, for example, you don't need to sleep with him on the first date, but if on the first date, maybe you share a kiss and that's it. And then maybe on the second date, maybe the kiss is a bit more passionate. Maybe on the third date and the third time you spend time together, maybe he comes in, you have a kiss on the sofa, you have a chat, and then maybe he stays the night, but you don't have sex with him. Maybe it's just semi-naked cuddles. By showing sexual progression, what you are doing is developing the physical intimacy as the emotional intimacy is also developing. And the thing is, what happens is that makes a guy in his mind go, well, I really want to see her because we're really starting to progress in the physical realm, and that's going to make him excited. That's going to reinforce his investment in you. So understand sexual pacing is important. It's better to have sexual pacing as opposed to just jumping in straight in with him. And the third thing to ask yourself is this: do you feel comfortable stripping in front of him naked when you're sober? A lot of the time we have sex with people because we were intoxicated, or we do want to have sex with someone, but we don't feel confident enough yet to have sex sober. We say, oh, we need to have a few drinks, or we need to get high, or whatever it is. When you're looking to have a relationship with someone, you build a point where you are comfortable enough in front of the other person to get naked in front of them. I'm not saying that you need to change in front of him or ever. It's always good to leave some mystery to his imagination. But if you feel that you can't be physical with him unless you've had a couple of drinks, or unless it's a very social environment, or there isn't any kind of intoxication going on, if you feel you can't do that, then maybe it is too soon. You're not comfortable enough with him that you feel you can be completely vulnerable with him. And remember, ladies, especially as women, when it comes to sex, this is a very vulnerable thing for you. This is a chance for you to connect, yes, but this is you being vulnerable. So it's really important that you do feel comfortable with him, and that comes from setting the foundation, taking time to connect with him emotionally. If you are looking for a guy who sparks up your love life, then make sure you subscribe to this wonderful tribe. And as always, keep it slick.
How?